when women ask, how do I know if he's really ready? What do you think they really mean? Or what are they really afraid of?
That's a very, very, very good question. And I'm going to try to answer it this way. And you've already kind of answered it, because what they are saying is that they are afraid. Men that are not ready
They don't like
avoid definition and don't want any time-framed
any
goal,
timeline.
any
Yeah.
timeline. A ready man, even though he might not be ready to say, okay, let's marry next week, he would still be saying, okay, we'll marry by October, or we'll marry by, he will have a specific timeline. Beyond having that specific timeline, you will see movement towards the practical actions being taken towards the timeline. That's a man worth waiting for.
Yeah.
By their
Yeah.
fruit you shall know them.
You shall
But
know them all.
that is just talking and talking, no movement, no action, no plan, no timeline.
Nothing.
I love you, I love you, I love you.
Well, I absolutely agree with you, PT. Hello, beautiful people. We're back with part 2 of how to know if he's ready. If you've listened to part 1, you know there were lots of gems. Pastor Temi was dropping gems upon gems. The conversation was authentic, it was unique, it was real, and it was full of healing. So, the part 2, this is it. I need you to listen to the end, because you think you know what we're about to say. There's just so much loaded in this part 2. And for me, even while we were recording this, I was getting healing for myself. And I pray that as you listen as a woman or as a man, you will receive the wisdom, the gems, the healing that is loaded in this conversation. So I see you at the comment section, so let's talk. But before we go into that conversation, do not forget to share to a woman, a single woman or a single man that has so much to learn. Tell them that this one is for them, specially packaged for them, for their healing, for their growth. And trust me, you know, if Pastor Temi is talking, is full of wisdom and gems. So I see you at the comment section. I'll be watching, I'll be chatting with you, and let's make this video reach everyone that needs to hear about it. All right, let's go into the conversation with Pastor Temi. See you there. Wait, which brings me to the next question, Pete. So what are the clear signs you're dating someone? We all have our past, our baggage, things we are dealing with. Or what are the clear signs that a man has healed from his past? You met this guy, and he know his story. You know what he's been through, the past failures, past marriage or past relationship. How do you know that this guy has moved on from the past? Can he speak about his ex without bitterness? Does he take accountability of what happened in his past relationship? Has he done inner work? I'm answering the question.
That's why I was smiling. I was like, you're answering the question. Those are the answers to the question. How you know whether he has healed from his past. Number one, is he able to share about his past without bitterness, defensiveness, or blame? Yeah? Is he able to do that? Then, is he able to own his part in what went wrong and
Accountability
articulate what he has learnt
from it?
Past. One of my past relationships, before I met my wife and married her, it failed, obviously. I didn't marry her.
Yeah. Yeah, we see.
At one point in time, I was meditating, talking to God about it. In the conversation, God was like, okay, so why didn't the relationship work? And I was kind of listing out, oh, she did this, she did that, she was like this, she was like that. And then after I finished listing out the whole lineup of everything that was wrong and that she did wrong, God said, so what did you do? What's your impact? I said, no, the relationship didn't fail because of me. The relationship failed because of her. And in normal Holy Spirit style, Holy Spirit said, you liar, you. He said that you contributed to the failure of the relationship. I said, how? He said that contribution is not just about what you did. It's also about what you did not do. So it's not just about commission. It's also about omission. And he said to show me various things I could have done, things I should have said, that I did not that contributed to the relationship going in the direction that it went and ultimately failing. But all things work together for good. But that was the first time that very intimately I learned that the lessons from my past is not about apportioning blame to the other party. It's also
Mm.
learning about my own contributions. And because if I don't learn from my past, I'm going to reproduce that past in my future. I'm going to repeat the same things in another relationship. At
Yeah.
some point in time, by the time something is repeating in your life over and again, you should wake up and realize that the only constant is you.
Mm.
The people are changing, but the experience
True.
is remaining the same. It means there's something that you haven't learned that you
Mm.
on repeating. So does he own his part in what went wrong? And can
Mm.
he articulate what he has learned from it? Healing is not forgetting the past. It's learning from it,
Mm.
understanding it. So if he's able to talk about his past, share about his past without bitterness, defensiveness, getting overtly triggered emotionally, just blaming the other person, he owns his part in what went wrong and can articulate the lessons he learned, then he has truly healed from his past and is a safe bet.
Mm.
But if he is not able to do that, he needs to go and still do some inner work.
So, Pity, is there a difference between closure and suppression? What's
Yes.
the difference between closure, say this is a closure, or a suppression?
If you haven't learned the lesson, is a suppression. If you've learned the lesson, it's closure. And you don't need the other party to have closure. This is a lie we
Yeah.
all tell ourselves. Oh, I need to go and see him so that I can have closure. She needs to come and see me so that now lie, you want to go and reopen it. That's not what you're looking for. You want to reopen the thing because you don't want closure. It's reopening that you want. You're just framing it as this closure that you want because you can give yourself closure. And
Yeah.
when you give yourself closure, you sit down, look at that thing eyeball to eyeball. What did I do or didn't I do that
Mm.
contributed to making this? I'm already aware of what the person did. It's my own part that I need to
Yeah.
now. You itemize. In fact, you do it like this is a school assignment. Bring paper,
Mm-hmm.
journal, open the journal, start writing. I did not do this. One, I did this. Two, you write down your lessons. You meditate on the lessons. Internalize the lessons.
Yeah.
It's closure. Then you
Yeah.
can close it. Boom. There is
On
no
to the next.
tragedy in life but the tragedy of not learning.
Mm.
No matter how painful a situation or circumstance was, if you learned something from that situation and circumstance, it wasn't a tragedy, it was school.
Hmm.
But no matter if you learned nothing from a painful experience, you can't put your finger on one lesson from it. That's a true tragedy. That means the pain is wasted. Your
Mm.
tears, your pain, your trauma, all a waste because you didn't learn anything. But the day
Yeah.
you learned one thing, na school, no be tragedy.
Pity, I agree with you. There's something they made us do when I was doing my master's, and it's called reflective essay, where you reflect on whatever. And I practice it for my personal life sometimes. Found that I was telling a friend of mine that I've found out that especially we blacks, we don't like to reflect. We like to spiritualize so much that we leave out reflecting on things. Something happened. Reflect. What happened? What did I do? What didn't I do? What can I learn from it? I found out that the few times I practice reflection, I see clearly myself, my errors, what I shouldn't have said or shouldn't have done. And I tell myself, okay, lesson, pick it and move on. But sometimes it's also difficult to
Yeah.
sit and reflect. I know for me, it's very difficult. Anytime I get myself to do it, I hug myself. Oh, yes, you did it. It's difficult to reflect. And I think it's because sometimes I don't know, I'm scared of what to see when I start reflecting. I'm scared of the me I will encounter
Yeah.
when I start reflecting. So
Yeah.
I will now decide to live in the bubble of It's okay, it's okay. Moving on. No, you're not moving on. You're hurting. You're triggered once something like that happens near you, you're triggered because you've not sat down to ask yourself, why does this trigger me so much?
Yeah.
Why am I not sitting still to find out why this thing in my past still comes up in my present? And that's the way I'll say carry it into somebody's life. And when they do things, it triggers what I've not dealt with. And I'm quickly, because I'm not reflecting as well, to judge them. Why did they? Why did they? I'm the problem.
Hey.
Because if I solve my own problem, deal with myself, it
Mm-hmm.
won't trigger me.
Mm-hmm.
I only pray for you. Say, God have mercy on you. Because I've dealt with myself and I can love myself better and I can love other people better. I can give other people benefit to say, don't worry, you'll
Mm.
get it.
Mm.
You'll get it. If I got it, you will. So I
Absolutely.
think the problem is we carry our baggage in, we don't deal with it, both male and female actually. And then you're in a relationship with a man that is carrying a lot of baggage that he's not dealt with.
Mm-hmm.
And you're trying to understand where you belong.
Mm.
He's dealing with a baggage.
Yeah.
He don't belong anywhere yet. And men are not like us who will probably rush ourselves to get into that relationship. Say, "Oh, okay, I will move on." I feel like men like to deal, like to hang on that past and say, what I'm going through, what I'm going through, what I'm going through, my feeling, I might be wrong. But women, when they meet someone, feel like that's my healing, it has come. But a man meets a woman, that's not his healing. He still has demons he's dealing with. And sometimes you, as the partner or the new person, triggers that demon and they start acting out, and maybe they'll not say they're not ready.
Yeah. Yeah, you're very right, and you're very, very right, and I absolutely agree with you, particularly on the issue of introspection, checking yourself. And I think male and female, we avoid it because it's a painful process, as even though it's an essential process. But maybe even men more than women. So,
Mm,
particularly a man that has had a very deep, intimate past relationship and it didn't work. He doesn't want to revisit it. So he's not going to introspect about it to a large degree.
mm,
He's just going to move on. He's just moving on, but he hasn't dealt with the past. So he's not really moving on.
yeah.
And it just takes the right situation, circumstance, or trigger to make him act out based upon unresolved things in his past. Again, such men need to be exposed to these kind of conversations to say, okay, I really need to go back and this thing properly again and introspect on this thing properly. Because men also are ego driven, maybe that comes
Mm,
the unwillingness to go and face yourself. It's
yeah.
interesting, the whole story of Jacob wrestling with an angel all night
Mm,
till morning. The actual understanding of that whole wrestle was that he was wrestling with himself.
mm,
He was actually wrestling with himself. And that is revealed in the final conversation between him and the angel when the angel says, "What is your name?" And he says, "My name is Jacob." And the angel says, "Your name will no longer be Jacob. Your name will now be Israel." It was his better self fighting with his old self. That
mm,
was the struggle that was going on. And there had to be a defeating and a letting go of facing the fact, I am Jacob. I am a liar.
mm,
I am a deceiver. I'm a supplanter. I was irresponsible. I was disloyal. Facing up, drawing your own lesson out of it. Now you can be Israel. Not by sweeping Jacob under
yeah.
the carpet, by admitting, repenting of that, and then you can be the new person.
Yeah. God help us.
God help us. He's helping us. He's our
Yes.
ever-present help.
Yes,
May
he is.
the help that he is
We
giving.
receive the help of God. We receive the help of God. So, but at this stage of life, should women be dating potential? Because they tell some of us, you need to humble yourself. He doesn't have to. At what age should a woman in her late 30s, 40s, 50s be dating potential?
You can't date potential. I'm sorry.
Mm,
You cannot date potential. Maybe in fact, right before, before we used to preach this and teach this whole potential thing. Look for his potential. Look for his potential. If he has potential, you should be able to deal with it. And maybe that will still work for the early 20-something-year-old, because that is truly the time of potential.
Potential.
Do you understand? You're still in your 20s now. You just came out of university. You are just still trying. Yeah, that's potential period. But once we don't cross 25, that's on now.
You even say 25, I'm saying 30. Wow, 25.
No, from 25, we should be seeing some direction. Pathway should be defined now.
Yeah.
Look, apart from me loving my wife loving me and all of that, one thing when she met me and when the relationship had to birth was that I was very, very clear about vision, about direction. And she could see me taking steps in the direction of what I said my vision and my direction was. I didn't have everything, but my goodness, it was clear.
So that was potential.
It was more than potential, which is where I'm going. Is
Okay.
pattern. It's pattern. Don't date or marry potential. Date and marry pattern. What's the difference? Pattern is a track record. A track record. I can see a pattern. I can see a pattern of movement. I can see what he does. That giving me, that's what I marry, not the potential. Listen, if you are looking at a 40-something-year-old and the only thing you can see is potential, unrealized potential, and he's in his late 30s, he's in his 40s, bros, that potential is not coming out anytime soon. What you are looking for, what you should be looking for is pattern. What is this pattern? And this is not about wealth, so to say. Okay, this is not about wealth. Stability isn't about wealth. It's about consistency of character, responsibility, and faithfulness. Character, stability, and faithfulness. If those things are there, even though he does not yet have the wealth, you can bet on that. There's a pattern of consistent character, consistent actions, and faithfulness. I can work with that. I know the wealth will come.
Okay, how can a woman know when she's ready and not just longing for a relationship? Let me break it down with a further question. Is loneliness worse than regrets? Can spiritual language keep women stuck? How does a woman know her peace is eroding? But in fact, I think what I really want to know is, a woman, we say we are ready, but are we ready because we are lonely? Or are we ready because we are ready?
Whew. I knew the way you were thinking about the question, I knew that it was going to be. Woman does really need to decipher between the two, whether it's because I'm longing to be married or I'm truly ready. Okay. And most of the things that we define as these are the evidences that a man is ready, they also apply to the woman.
Yeah.
She too is showing a willingness to be committed, to grow, to adjust, to sacrifice. Okay, let me put it this way. If a woman is ignoring red flags that she can see in the relationship just so she can still be chosen, she's not ready. She's desperate. She wants to be married by all means.
Yeah.
And I see it all the time. I see women that are just marry me. Let's just have that wedding. Let's just have that wedding. And she's seeing clear red flags. As in blood red, shining like this, the thing they reflect. But she's ignoring it because she just wants to be married. She's desperate, but she's not ready. But if she wants a husband and she's willing to grow, she's willing to adjust, she understands that marriage is about sacrifice, then it's not about desperation and longing now. It's really about, okay, she's ready. Readiness is mutual formation, not one-sided expectation. You know, so it can't just be what's happening on your side that determines readiness. It's what's happening
Yeah.
of
On
yours
both sides.
that
Yeah.
determines the readiness. So all this, I'm getting married. My love is enough. My own conviction is enough to carry this relationship. You know, go work, cool.
That's disaster waiting to happen.
You know, go work. Then I think you mentioned the whole thing about that was powerful. What you said about loneliness, is loneliness worse than regret?
Mm.
No, regret is worse than loneliness any day, anytime. Because loneliness is a mindset. Day you change your mindset, loneliness disappears.
Right.
That is an emotion that is fueled by a certain mindset. A mindset of, oh, because I don't have a man. No, 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 no. The day you change your mind, and marriage has not become the entirety of the goal of life, but fulfilling purpose, having impact, being relevant and significant, as you find out that you are not lonely anymore. Yeah.
Mm.
That man was alone. Wasn't that man was lonely? Man was not lonely.
Mm-mm.
Alone
Was
is different
busy.
from being lonely. Lonely,
Yeah.
an emotion, it's a feeling that is predicated on a particular mindset that fuels it. I'm not saying that we can't feel lonely, but we renew our mind and get out of it fast. But when
Mm.
I'm living in a perpetual sense of I'm lonely, I'm lonely, I'm lonely, there's something wrong with my thinking and with my mindset. Yeah. So, but regret, entering a relationship, the trauma of a failed relationship or a failed marriage, particularly. A failed relationship is not as traumatic as
Traumatic
a
as.
failed marriage. A failed marriage, particularly a failed marriage that even has children involved or anything.
Mm.
Oh my goodness. It's regret and trauma for years. And it's a regret and trauma that often has to now even be dealt with in the collateral damage of family and friends that were so intimately involved. And worse, if there were children in the children. You now have to look at how am I going to heal these children or position these children to be healed from the trauma that I have allowed into their lives by wrong choices and decisions. Oh God, terrible. Happening every day, by the way.
Yes, it is. And, I was having a chat with a good friend of mine, and this marriage topic came up. And I said to her that, see, with the news of marriage, failed marriages, that I can wake up to that and say, I'm ready. I'm ready for this marriage thing. Next, I'm saying, oh God, I beg, please, please help me. I beg, if this is what it will talk, I beg, let me remain single. Because the thought of waiting this long, then getting into marriage and it not working, literally scares me. Like, why did I do it? I'd rather remain single and walk my life as a single woman and enjoy myself and serve the Lord and make impact on earth. So when I'm gone, people remember me for what the impact I've made, than to wait this long, enter into a marriage, and then say it's not working, that you want divorce. You will marry me, oh. You will marry me. You go marry me tire. So I'd rather just stay by myself and enjoy my. I I know people think single people are lonely. Sincerely, I think married people are lonely. Some of them are, not all of them. Some of
Mm-hmm,
them are.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Because being single, I think I said in one of my episodes, has given me an opportunity to know myself. Because I grew up fast. I went to school fast. I grew up with people who are not my age mates. So my younger ones will say I didn't have a childhood. I grew up so fast that when I had my first relationship was in university. One of the reasons I broke up that relationship, apart from my dad saying you're too young for this, is I needed to know who I was. I needed to find myself. Maybe I took it too far and caged in because I wanted to really know who I am. But I've also found myself in the process of just being by myself, living alone, sorting life by myself, making decisions by myself, finding out who I am really. That if tomorrow somebody say who is Josephine, even if I'm sleeping, if you meet me, you know me, because if you meet me, you know who I am. I can't hide myself. I was smart and intelligent, but a bit timid as a young girl, bullied as a child. But the more I find myself, the more bold I am, the more vocal I am. Some people met my vocal self, some people met my timid self. But those that met my timid self see me and say, is this Jojo? Because I've grown to know me, to know who I am in God. If you come into my life as a man, you will know me. If the me you see, you don't like it, sorry. Because I'm not going to change. I'm a good woman. I've grown to build something good about my life. I'm not wealthy yet, but I'm solid. And I know that if I'm in a man's life,
Yep.
you will fail.
Come on.
You will know you married a wife.
That's it.
And it's not about kitchen or cleaning. No, you have a solid human being behind you,
That's
giving
right.
you the support you need.
That's
But
it.
if I will not get into a marriage relationship and now decide that it's over. It better be over before I get in. Because I didn't wait this long to make that mistake.
Mm-hmm. 100% I agree with you. I'm super proud of you. That must be the resolve, but from a position of faith and not fear.
Yeah.
But that must be the resolve, you know. The reason that why it cannot be from a position of fear is that fear attracts what you are afraid of and can keep you caged. Fear has torment. Yeah. But the resolve is right. It must be, I know that there is right out there. I know that there is good out there. I know there is an ideal out there and God can give it to me. But if not, all well and good. That is still not the end of the world. Listen to the Hebrew boys. They said, fire. They said, he said that our God is well able to save us. But peradventure, he decides, say, he's not going to save us. We are not, we are not changed. We will not bow. If we perish, we perish. And interestingly enough, have you noticed, everywhere in the word of God where somebody got to that point of resolve of, if I perish, I perish, they never perish.
True.
They never perish.
So Temi, you're going to the word in your life, in our lives. We've come to that place. Say, okay, God, if not die, let's die.
That's
Whatever
it.
it is, it's a me
Yeah.
and you. We're in this together, you know.
Yes.
And God always shows up where
Yeah.
you know that this is God is you. You know, even for me, Pastor Temi, I know I'm scared when I think about how marriages fail. And it worries me. Like, I wish I can heal all marriages. Sometimes I'm like, I wish I have that power to walk into a home and say, be healed. What is it? Marry yourselves and be happy.
Let
But
me tell you what I
I
found
don't
out.
have it.
What I found out, and that's where those that are not married have an advantage. Number one, the enemy likes to give the headline and the breaking news spot on all
Yeah.
platforms to every marriage that is not working. And the ones that are working, good news doesn't sell, bad news does. Yeah. So that number one. But number two, in my years of pastoring, counseling, and whatever, I found out that so many of the relationships that are held on earth and that they're just having a terrible time, you can always trace the problems all the way down to the foundation. The seeds of whatever they are facing, the majority of the time, were there before they went to the altar. It's all about they didn't lay the right foundations. They didn't talk about the things they needed to talk about. They didn't face the things they were meant to face. There was just this, let me get married. They rush into it without looking at the things that needed to be looked at and dealt with. So the single person has an advantage if they are listening to this kind of information, if they've been exposed to this type of information to say, okay, I'm going to get it right. I'm going to lay the right foundation. And it can't just be the woman that's hearing this information, which is often the
Yeah.
case.
Yeah.
The society doesn't have the man prioritizing learning, getting emotional intelligence and relationship IQ. You know, so and especially in a culture that teaches that all the man needs is to be able to provide, but he doesn't understand that his primary provision in marriage is actually not money, it's servant leadership. If you can't be a servant leader, and what it means to be a servant leader, hey, it requires the intelligence. It requires dying. It requires so much more than money. And that money definition for men, it can't even work in this day and age. Because women, gender pay gap, we're eradicating it, and women are starting to earn more than the guy. So
Yeah, yeah.
we better rewire our thinking if our relationships are going to
But
work.
Pity, what that is now doing is making, because the men have been groomed to say they're supposed to be providers. Now you're married to ladies who are providing. They have the money more than you. So the men are taking the back seat. So you hear stories of they're laid back, they don't want to pay bills. Every small to say, but you're earning more than me. I feel it's from that background of saying they're supposed to provide. But now you're not any more than the woman can do, especially in this climate where we live, where probably the wife is earning more than the man and is a 50-50 community, and you see men, brothers, who are saying, but you earn more than me, why should we do 50-50? Somebody told me that it's because their ego is at stake. So they've come into an environment where back in Nigeria, they get things done, or back in anywhere in Africa where they get things done by themselves. They're like pushing it, pushing it, pushing it. Here, maybe it's the wife that brought them. So she has more money. She has a job that pays more. So now they're laid back. They're allowing her do the thing, pay the bill. Hey, you're the one making money now. But now marriages, for immigrants coming into the country are crashing. Why? Because the men are no longer seeing themselves as leaders, quote and unquote.
And I agree totally with you, but it reinforces exactly what I'm saying. There's an absence, something absent in the teaching of men provide. We made that whole provision thing only about money. In fact, we made it primarily and solely
About money.
about money. Meanwhile, the provision was very little about money. The provision was about servant leadership, sacrifice. And what is leadership about? Casting vision, going first. Now, if I understood that as primary, then it doesn't matter that she's bringing more money in than I am. And I still won't be able to just lay back and say, since you have more money than me, just pay all the bills. It just won't happen. Even though I know I'm bringing in less. Because look at all the things we've talked about earlier about responsibility. I have a sense of responsibility. So even when I'm earning less, I'm still being responsible.
Yeah.
It's an anomaly that a man will now resign because a travesty that a man will now resign to contribute simply because the woman is in a better position than him. No. She's not built to do that. And it's only a matter of time if she's the one that is constantly doing that before there's going to be problem.
Yeah.
You see it all the time, actually. So the man has still got to say, oh, yeah, you're earning more, but I'm still responsible. And so we're still putting in all my resource, everything that I have to offer is still on the table. There are things that I will still take responsibility for, even though you have the ability financially better than I can do it.
Yeah.
For example, you're getting married. I bought my wife's wedding dress. I bought the rings. There are certain things that maybe they might say traditional, it's traditional, but hey, there's some look, all this vilifying our cultures and our traditions as if anything that is from culture or tradition is evil is wrong. There's a lot in culture and tradition that is still very good and righteous and virtuous. Yeah.
Yeah.
So my belief system, our belief system is that I'm the one meant to pay for that. I'm the one marrying you. You're not marrying yourself. So whether I'm struggling to get all of the coins together to do it or not, I have to find a way of doing it.
Pastor Temi, women are paying their own bride price now.
Hi, Jesus is Lord. I'm sorry. How can you pay your own bride? No. The man should
They're
go
paying
and
their own
work.
bride price.
Use his faith. The just shall live by faith. Use your faith to find that bride price. I go and pay it. Why should she pay her own bride? She's buying herself.
Pastor Temi, a lot is changing in this our time and generation. No? God is helping us. So, Pity, let's wrap up because there's just so much. I keep skipping and skipping, but so that we don't want to
I
lose
hear
the
you.
full gist of it. So, if you're to advise people like me in our 40s or 30s, what are the 3 non-negotiable signs we should be looking out for a ready man?
Looking at how to frame this well so that it hits home well also. 3 non-negotiables. Okay, I'll do you 3 non-negotiables, and I'll do you three red flags that she must not ignore.
Okay,
All right.
good.
God help. God help me. I've just set myself up. Oh, geez.
Let's go, let's go, let's go.
All right. 3 non-negotiables she must look for. If I'm talking to any lady that I really, really love and care for and I want the best for, number 1, now this is not cliche. You want to look for the fact that he has a genuine love for God that is reflected in how he treats other people. Note my choice of words. A genuine love for God that reflects in how he treats other people. This busts being deceived by Christianese language, quoting of scripture, first into church service, last to leave, which are not necessarily bad things, but are not the evidence of genuine love for God.
Yeah.
Evidence of genuine love for God is reflected in how they treat other people. So you want to see, how does he treat his mother? How does he treat his sister? How does he treat his siblings? How does he treat people that are below him, that he perceives as below him? All of that tells you whether that relationship he has with God is actually him and making him a kind, considerate, emotionally regulated person. If that is absent, if you can already see all sorts of orange and red flags around that, please. Number 2, a proven pattern of responsibility-centered living. So now this is not about, he has money, he has house. No. A proven pattern of being responsible, not just for himself, but responsible for others that are in his life, that are in his sphere, that he should be responsible for. So I'm seeing the pattern that when he's making his decision, he considers others even in the making of decisions. So that's the non-negotiable I must look for. Number 3, clarity of direction and emotional maturity. I know I just added a fourth form by adding me emotional.
It's fine. It's good.
So clarity of direction. Where is he going? Where is he going? Can I see clarity in his life? Can I see clarity? Is he going somewhere? Because if a woman is meant to follow, it's hard for a woman to follow a parked car, right?
Yeah.
So the car needs to be going somewhere. He needs to be going somewhere. So can I see clarity of direction and then emotional maturity, emotional stability? He's not up today, down tomorrow. He's even, he's measured. Even when there's bad news, he handles it. When there's great news, he handles it. So those are 3 non-negotiables I would throw out there. For me, love for God that is reflected in how he loves other people, how he relates with other people. Number 2, a proven pattern of responsibility towards others, responsibility living.
Is he responsible?
Yes, is he responsible? And then number 3, clarity of direction and maturity. So those are non-negotiables. If any of these things are absent, I would say run away. If they're absent, there's likely going to be some trauma and abuse in the future. And you don't want that. The red flags, the 3 red flags, any man that you see that is constantly avoiding responsibility but speaks in grand intentions, avoid. If his language is full of plans, dreams, and promises, but his life shows little ownership, please pause immediately. Press the stop button and then watch to see. Does he keep on blaming people for everything? Does he have stable work pattern with elaborate explanations as to why things aren't working? Does he avoid hard conversations? Does he constantly use spiritual language to dodge accountability? God is working on me. I'm praying about it.
It is well.
It is well. All right. So any man that you see is constantly avoiding responsibility but speaks in grand language is a man to avoid. I would tell my daughter the same. Yeah? Run away.
Mm.
Man that does not own his life cannot steward a marriage.
Mm.
Okay? Number 3, any man that is threatened by your strength, clarity, and progress.
Run, no.
Run. No. Feels that for him to be a man, he needs to sit you down. Run. Yeah? Particularly when we're talking about mature women in their 30s, in their 40s, at that stage of life, that woman is likely has life experience, has emotional insight, has professional or spiritual growth. But if he reacts badly to those and he certainly is constantly competing with you, minimizing your voice, or needs to feel superior to feel secure, that is not small. That's a structural problem in him. Marriage cannot thrive when one partner must shrink the other to feel good and feel big. A secure man celebrates a strong woman. It takes joy in it.
Yeah.
All right. Number 3, red flag to avoid. He lacks relational history that shows depth and loyalty. I'm talking about those in the mature age group right now, because
Yeah.
if you meet a man that's in his 30s or in his 40s or in his 50s and there's no relational history, how now? How are you 40, 50 and there's no relational history? You never had relationship, nothing close. Even if you were not married, nothing close. There's a problem. The absence of it is already a red flag. But then, even where there is history, I want to see that history. Let's understand it very well. Relational history that shows depth and loyalty. By midlife, everyone has a relational trail.
Yeah.
What matters is not perfection, but pattern. That the red flags that are included are fractured friendships with no accountability taken. So you start seeing that this person, he walks out on friendship so easily and there's no accountability, there's no redress, nothing. A strained family relationship he refuses to examine. You know, sometimes I see some women, the man, you see the man just being rude to anybody and say, yes, he gives them the truth. He talks. You will soon be the recipient.
You're next online.
Next online. A sequence or a lineup of crazy exes. All of it crazy. Everybody ex is crazy. Except him. He's the crazy person. You haven't found out yet. Inability to sustain long-term bonds. So all of these show a lack of relational history that shows depth and loyalty. Marriage does not create relational capacity. It exposes the capacity that is already there. If he has never maintained a meaningful relationship, he has not yet learned how to be in covenant. So, ignore a man who avoids responsibility, resents your strength, and lacks relational depth. Those threes don't improve with a wedding ring. They don't improve with a wedding ring. So if they're absent, the wedding ring is not going to bring it
at all.
So that's me done.
Wow. Pastor Temi, as we were talking, one question, Pastor Temi, please indulge me in this question.
All right.
So we are in a time where we hear testimonies like, I met my husband in January 1st and I got married February 1st. Okay, Pastor Temi, I'm not afraid, but that terrifies me because I believe in process. I believe in cutting, dating, no matter your age. If you like be 50, be 100, in a relationship, I believe in that moment where two people are getting to know each other. But now I'm seeing this trending thing of meet today, marry tomorrow, and it's a testimony and it's a miracle. I don't doubt people's testimony. I will never doubt whatever they say God did in their lives, but I'm worried. Like, how can that kind of relationship be sustained? No. Is it, am I doubting God for having these questions, Pastor Temi? Or is it,
You're not.
so,
Yeah, you're not. Anybody, any mature marriage counselor, relationship counselor, relationship coach, pastor should be concerned, should be highly concerned when you hear that kind of testimony. And it is aided and abetted by the whole miracle culture that has taken main stage now, where everybody's looking for a miracle. Everybody's looking to have this. I want my miracle to sound better and bigger than yours. So sometimes that's all that people are looking for. Because relationship is far more nuanced and complicated than I met you 1 month and we're married the next month, because we are mature people. We want young people. So we just married quickly. Like we've said in all of our conversation, that you are mature age-wise doesn't mean that you are relationally mature for marriage. So a lot of those people that give testimonies, because of the mercy of the Lord, it's because of the mercy of the Lord that we're consumed. The truth be
we're
told,
not
the
consumed.
work that they are not ready, they are just married. It doesn't mean they are ready for it. And the work you are meant to do before marriage, they will now
They'll
be
do it in
doing.
marriage. That'd be
And
tough.
I tell you the truth, as a marriage counselor, it is so much harder in marriage. It's so much harder in marriage. You will struggle to learn the lessons you're meant to have learned before marriage in marriage. It's so much harder, so much more complicated, but they will do it or they will fail. Some of those kind of testimonies, I wish we could now put a life camera on them to now, okay,
Yeah.
just follow this couple for the next 6 months to 1 year. Let's see how
And
they're
let's
doing.
know. Yeah.
There'll be trouble. There is no way. Even the people we caught well, they have their challenges, let alone the ones that did not. So we have thank God for the testimony. We're not judging their testimony. Thank God you've done it. But I hope you now have counselors. I hope you are submitting to proper, because the work you should have done before, you will now have to do it inside. And then, fortunately, in this marriage thing, they won't do the work now. So it's now to have trouble that they will call pastor. And by
Yeah.
the time they are calling pastor, typically many,
It
many,
might
many.
be too late. Yeah. Well, Pastor Temi, thank you
Hey,
so much. Thank you so much for being here. I've learned a lot. In fact, as you're talking, I'm getting my healing as well. And I'm so blessed. Thank you for making out time. I know you've been so busy, but I'm grateful that you came. You made that time for me today.
I'm
Thank you.
honored and grateful that you had me. Initially, when you muted it to me, I said, Jojo wants me on her podcast.
No, I'm the one that's honored, though. It's not me. I'm so
I told you that me, I can be very boring, but I hope,
honored.
hopefully this podcast has not been boring today.
No, not boring. In fact, this is loaded. I think it might even be 2 parts because we are entering almost 2 hours
Yeah,
of
we
recording.
spent a
So it's going to be,
helping dose of time.
yeah, it's going to be 2 parts. So people really get the gist of it. And thank you so much. I'm grateful.
You're welcome.
As we wrap up this conversation, I want to leave you with this. Knowing if he's ready is important. But knowing if you are aligned with what you truly desire is even more important. At this stage of life, we're not dating for butterflies. We're dating for peace, for clarity, for partnership that feels intentional, not confusing. A man is ready. A man who is ready will not be perfect, but he'll be clear. He will be consistent, and he will not make you feel like you are asking for too much when you ask for direction. And if there's one thing I hope you take out today is this: love should not feel like indefinite waiting. Grace should not cost you your peace. And patience should never silence your discernment. You don't need to pressure a ready man. No. And you don't need to shrink to keep one. Whether you're 35, 45 or beyond, your time, your heart, and your clarity matters. Choose alignment, choose honesty, choose peace, and above all, choose you. Thank you for watching. See you in the next episode. If you've not subscribed to us, subscribe, share, and let another woman or a man listen to this message. This will bless your socks off. Thank you. Bye.